Hey guys, this is my honest review for The Disaster Artist. And unlike a lot of the movies that I review, which are sort of big blockbusters, this one is much smaller, but I think it's definitely going to be an awards film this year. It's actually based on the making of a different film called The Room, and I do recommend watching at least clips of that film before you go see this one. I saw this one after a pretty long day at work, but I was still in a terrific mood. And I was operating on a full stomach. I had just had some wonton soup for dinner, and my expectations for this movie were high based on everything that I had read about it. And it did not disappoint. The Disaster Artist is based on the true story of Tommy Wiseau, who was the writer, producer, director, and star of 2003's The Room, a movie widely regarded as one of the worst films ever made, but somehow it became a cult classic. It's watched in midnight screenings around the world. It has been for the past decade. Tommy's story is pretty limited though, because to this day no one knows where he's from, or how old he is, or how he got the millions of dollars needed to fund the making of The Room. But somehow those unknowns make him a remarkably fascinating character.
I did not hit her. I did not. Oh, hi, Mark.
And wow, James Franco is just spectacular playing that character. He has his voice down so perfectly, and to understand what that takes, you need to know that Tommy has sort of a strange accent, and yet he claims that he's from America, from New Orleans specifically. It's just one of the weird quirks about him that James Franco nails so perfectly. He has his laugh down, he has his cadence, he has his movements. It's a role that could definitely get him an award nomination, and I would totally support it if it did. The other person who's just terrific in this movie is his real-life brother, Dave Franco, who actually plays a friend in the movie. So there's no relation there, but you don't feel like there is one because they're both so inhabiting the roles that they are playing in the film. Dave is young and earnest and kind of knows that something about Tommy is off, but manages to love him just the same. The other thing that's great about this movie is all of the supporting roles and cameos that are played by sort of extraordinary people. Sharon Stone is in it, and Bryan Cranston, Seth Rogen, Alison Brie. The list just goes on and on and on, and it makes the movie that much more fun to watch because you really don't know who's going to pop up next. I also can't overstate how great the script is. It manages to blend the ridiculous with the sublime and make someone so unknowable seem universal. You root for Tommy, even as you facepalm about how absurd he is, and you can't wait to see what happens on the set of his film, even though you know it's going to be disappointing. And despite all of the clear dysfunction of these characters, there's this sense of camaraderie and connection that most of us long for in our own lives. So my review for The Disaster Artist is easy. It is one of my favorite movies of the year. It is smart and hilarious. It'll make you think, and it'll make you not think. It's one of those strange experiences where everyone in the theater when I was screening was just howling in the same way that I imagine people that go to these midnight screenings of The Room react, which I feel like is probably the highest compliment that you can pay to the filmmakers of The Disaster Artist. Go see it.